All right, guys, welcome to our Move Everyday podcast. I'm Coach Mike, and with us today we have a special guest from Chester. Before we get started, I just want to remind you guys that if you like this podcast, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go and check out our Instagram, Strong Together Official, and also go to strongtogetherfitness.com if you're looking for a location near you. So today we have a special guest to us from Chester. Her name is Wendy, and I'm going to let Wendy kind of introduce herself, give us some background, and then we'll find out some cool pieces about Wendy's story and how she found fitness and kind of what that journey's been like for her that may be able to help some of you out there. So welcome, Wendy.
Thanks. Hi. I guess I could start with saying I ended up finding Chester CrossFit back in I think it was 2014, and before that I would never have even considered joining a box at all. About 2 years prior, I had started doing a boot camp in town in Long Valley where I live, and I joined it because I needed some kind of an exercise program, really a gym I was looking for initially that would allow me to bring my little girl. And this was like an awesome way to work out. And I'd never done anything like it before. It was very community based. Every workout was, different. It was varied, right? But she shut down her boot camp. And so I needed something else. And one of the trainers actually was a Hackettstown CrossFit member. And so I said, gee, do you think I could do this? She's like, maybe, So I wasn't sure, though, if I could make the commute for 9 o'clock classes. And then, boom, Chester opened up. So it was really, I don't look at myself as an athlete because I have I've never done organized sports or anything like that. So I really kind of had to, it was out of my comfort zone, but I went ahead and signed up sight unseen in August and, walked through the door in November of 2014 and never looked back.
Awesome. So you signed up before the gym actually opened?
Yes.
Yeah. Gotcha. So you kind of were one of those founding members. That's pretty cool.
The OG.
Yeah. And so we're like 5 years later now, right? You said that was 14, I guess?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Cool. So, all right. So you said that you never really had any athletic background necessarily before that, but you found you needed some exercise. So you found, something local where you could bring your little girl and she was going with you. Awesome. Yeah. So you enjoyed that style. And I guess one of the trainers, I think I know who you're talking about, was one of our members over at Hackettstown, and then decided to try it out. So you signed up before they even opened. So that's pretty cool. For anybody that doesn't know, typically if you sign up before the gym even opens, you get the best rates and you're locked in for life. So
that was one of the best decisions ever.
Yeah,
for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was it like getting into it right away? Coming from, having done some kind of varied fitness and high intensity, circuits and things like that. What was it like when you got into a Strong Together gym and it was, I would assume a little bit different. Maybe you can talk to that.
Yeah, it was different because during the boot camp, I would drag along dumbbells and a kettlebell. And so now suddenly, there were barbells and wall balls and all sorts of equipment, rigs and everything that I never touched. If I went into a gym, I was on a bike, and doing machines. So this was totally foreign to me. And it was a little intimidating, but honestly, starting off in that small group, a lot of us were new to CrossFit. So right away, we kind of, by necessity really formed, a really nice, tight, cohesive group and just kind of learned together. Christine was our coach and she was awesome, and we really had a good time, and, you were totally drained and exhausted at the end. I definitely went in with the mindset of somebody has to be last, so it might as well be me. And
Mhm.
that was definitely me at the beginning. I was frequently the last person done. But I just kind of said, that's okay. I'm competing against myself, and you know, someday I won't be. And so, that's just kind of the mindset that I had going into it. And I think I
Mhm.
really needed that for me because, I don't, and it was interesting because I ended up, I've learned since that I didn't think I was a competitive person, but I realize now, like, oh no, I've got a little, competitiveness inside of me, and
Mhm.
it's really fun to have this safe space to do it in
Right.
and compete, against really myself, right? And just kind of see like, I want to do better, I want to
Yeah.
lift more, do more, go faster. So it's fun.
Yeah. So what were your original goals, even when you were just doing the boot camp type stuff? What kind of drew you into fitness and wanting to start working out? And then when you started with Strong Together, what kind of results were you really looking for?
I think when I first started the boot camp, I wanted to just sort of overall get in shape, you know. Um, so I was on my way. I would not say that I was, truly there. I was only going twice a week at that point. That was all they offered. Um, and then, so it was a similar thing when I got into CrossFit. I wanted to. I was also looking to improve my posture too. I think was was part of it. As strange as that might sound, but I just wanted a better a better working body. And then within CrossFit, I thought, okay, well, I would also like to be stronger. Part of it, as a woman, what was important too was doing weight bearing exercise. Just getting into that age to kind of strengthen my bones at this point in life. So those were really my goals. Um,
Gotcha. Cool.
yeah, and it's evolved from there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so what kind of things did you accomplish in that first year? Did you ever feel like, man, this is too much. I don't think I can do this. And kind of how did that transition go? A lot of people are usually relatively scared to come into our doors, try out a class. It's pretty intimidating. They hear the word CrossFit and they kind of turn and run the other way. You got into it a little bit before you had a chance to come and try it. You were doing, a boot camp type class, which, is not CrossFit, but it's also not sitting on the elliptical or the bike for, 30 minutes at the gym. So, was it, when you came in, was it, I understand it was maybe a little bit of shock value, some different equipment, some stuff you've never tried before. What was your feeling after maybe a few months or a year in? Did you feel like, all right, I can't do this, I'm not gonna last? Or was it, did you just kind of get used to it? Or how was the transition?
Yeah, it was interesting. So I never felt like I could not do it. I really uh, was appreciative. Like once I made the commitment, and I think the atmosphere that Christine created for us, um, and just kind of that feeling of community, I thought, okay, I really can do this. And also my own mindset of like, even if I don't improve, which I knew I would improve, but I just sort of set that, kind of took that out of the equation for myself. Um, Having said that, I was, a little scared at times with the barbell, right? Like thinking, oh God, oh, what is this today? We've got deadlifts, we've got, clean and jerks. Like, how am I gonna, and what does that even mean again? I forget that acronym, that type of thing. So it was learning the language and getting comfortable with the movements, bar path, and it feels awkward at first, right? And it was, completely my first introduction to it. But I remember, I think I want to say it might have been around Christmas. Trisha was teaching a class and she said, let's all go around and say, what we like most. And it's the barbell, like for sure. And it's so funny because that was the thing that probably I was the most intimidated to do. But I love it, and I love going overhead. So snatch or an overhead squat, that type of thing.
Hmm.
And it's just, if you would have asked me that years ago, right? Like I wouldn't have even wanted to touch one. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, but I would walk in and feel a little nervous for sure, that first year and thinking, okay, what's going to happen, and it's been an evolution, to move forward from that. But I would say, yeah, for sure at the start.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Was so you kind of created this tight knit bond, like you said. You had some. I'm assuming you were what, like a 9:30 person typically. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had this group of people that you kind of saw every day. You brought the kids, maybe their kids.
Yeah.
Your kids knew their kids. So what was that like to kind of find other people that not only were like minded but also kind of in the same shoes as you? Whether it's age or gender, or they have the kids, or did you expect to find that same group of people, or did you expect to walk in and see a bunch of 20 somethings running
I
around?
that's interesting. I did feel like, oh God, is this going to be like a bunch of guys that are like, just buff and have done this already, like for years and years and years. So it was comforting to go in and see, a mix of people, and to see moms that were, may or may not have been similar in age, but that had kids and that were, needing a space also for babysitting while they, came in and did their thing. And I think, and right away, I mean, and this was something that I learned from boot camp. I just feel like when you work out the way that we work out, and you sweat with people the way that we do, and you put it all out there on the floor, there's a real rawness to that. And I think it just lends you to opening up, and this kind of a team mentality, even though you're doing your own individual thing, and even though someone else is doing RX and I'm doing, white or gray as a beginner, just that feeling of, still we're doing it together, right? Like we are still doing quote unquote the same thing, even though, it's just at my level and your level, but we're working hard. I mean, you're out of breath and I'm out of breath, that kind of thing. And I felt like right away really drawn to that cohesiveness, and being able to share the experience, and then to come in the next day and you're rolling out and to say, oh, how were the stairs yesterday? For you, yeah, it was tough for me too. And it kind of just goes from there. And then, like you said, you're like-minded, right? So I think people that are drawn to this type of style of fitness really share some common ideas as far as how important that is to them, what they're willing to sacrifice or reorder, let's say, in life in terms of priorities, to make this a priority, to get in and do this for yourself. So it just, I think I like the fact that we share that commonality, even if we have different, interests in life and are at different points in life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's interesting that you touched on, before you spoke a little bit about your goals, and your goals may be very, very different than the person next to you in class, versus the next person. Everybody's doing the same workout, just modified scale differently depending on their ability level. And I think a lot of people don't understand that, don't assume that that's possible when they see it from the outside or when they see it on TV. They just assume, all right, well, if I go in there, I have to throw that barbell with that many weights over my head. And if I can't do it, then I shouldn't go to that gym. And so I think that's one of the best things about having days when
Yeah.
people can come in, try out the gym, and just see things. They quickly understand that they don't have to be in the best shape to do this. You don't have to be, fit to start. You just have to
Yeah.
start, at some point, and then
Yeah.
go from there.
I wish
Good.
I was going to say, I wish I could remember who said this to me, but it was early on in the first year, and I probably came in from like a run that must have been like the last thing, and I was like dying on the floor, and, time was up, that kind of thing. And everyone's like giving each other high fives and whatnot. And this person had said to me, who was like an RX athlete, right? And I'm not, certainly wasn't then. And they came up to me and just said, wow, like that was awesome. You don't know how much you inspire me. And I was like, what? Right? Like to me, it's the opposite, right? I look up to them. But then as as time has gone on, and I've improved a little too, it's really true, like how inspiring it is, right? When you see anyone give it their all. I mean, that's like what I absolutely love about it, is just, we are all putting it out there.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah,
that's awesome.
we tend to in our line of work, and the type of exercise we do, we reward the effort more than I think we reward the result, which is great. Yeah, putting as much into it as you can, regardless of if you're scaled, modified, doing something, scale modifying around an injury, or whatever, something that you have going on. It's the effort that really matters. So
Hmm.
that's awesome. I wanted to touch quickly on so kind of recap. So you joined the gym before it even opened. You got into it, kind of like a little nervous, scared for, hadn't done any of this stuff before, found a welcoming atmosphere, found like-minded people, coaches that would help you modify, scale, give you the things that were appropriate for you, and create that community feel around you. And then I understand that then you started to bring the family into this a little bit. So maybe you can touch on that and kind of how that happened, and why that was good or bad, or what
Yeah.
kind of things have come from that.
Yeah. My husband is an athlete. So I had started with this, and he was just, I don't even know what he was doing. I guess he was going to a gym. I don't even recall. And he used to always drive any fitness that we did. And I said, you really should come in and give this a shot. So he eventually did. Or he came and actually, I think he watched me the first time doing barbells for boobs. And I could see it in his eyes that this would be something that would appeal to him. I'm like, I can see it. You're itching to do this. You need to just like come to a Bring a Friend Day. So he signed up about 4 months later,
Mm-hmm.
and almost died doing baseline. And, you know, but, that pretty quickly he got hooked. And, and it's just been a really nice thing for he and I to share, because, well, even even with us like not necessarily being at the same level, it's like it's something we can talk about, right? Like, what's the WOD going to be? How did you do? How are you going to approach it? Are you planning to do the open? Et cetera, et cetera. Um, Going together, we try. He travels for work, but we try to come in together whenever we can. So sometimes that means me waking up at 5:30 and showing up at the 5:30 class,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is fun, and it's a different atmosphere. So I enjoy doing that. And sometimes he joins me at 9:30 now, because he works from home. So it's been a really nice thing. Plus, even when we travel, initially he was a little more hesitant to go to other boxes. Now, when we're getting ready, to go on our trips, he's like, "Did you find a box? When are we going? Are we, we're getting like, how many passes are we getting, et cetera, et cetera." So it's really cool that it's just a part of our lives, and it's like a non-negotiable. I mean, it's just part of our habit. It's what we do, and it's a really, it's an awesome thing to share.
Yeah.
And our girls, hopefully right through osmosis, they see how important fitness is to us. And, so they're building bonds with the other children that are at the box, and the other families. So that's really nice, is that, they see it in us, they see the community, that we're a part of, and they're a part of that. And then now our daughter Julia is 14, and so she has started, and so she comes in twice a week. And you know it's not always willingly. Like sometimes, we're like, okay, you got to get into WODs this week, when are you doing it? And we'll go with you, that type of thing. But just like us, you never leave feeling regretful that you came in, right? Like, and I told my husband, I'm like, ooh, she had WOD high today, she just chats, and we just talk about like, oh, didn't that feel so good? And trying to get her to recognize, that when you stimulate your body this way and in different ways, how just how good it feels, right? Like just literally, it really brings joy, you know. I mean, it's hard in the moment, but afterwards it's like, wow, I feel good, you know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice to share that with her for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome. So she's probably what, a freshman or sophomore?
She is an eighth grader. She's an
Okay,
eighth grader.
gotcha.
Yeah.
So she's just turning 14. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's cool for especially young girls her age, getting ready to go into high school and to find something that, it's not necessarily like she's interested in going to the Olympics or, competing in CrossFit, but just something that can at least help her with confidence, just like I'm strong,
Yes.
I can do this, I can keep up with the boys, I can,
Yep.
whatever it is. It's very, very
Yeah.
important, and I would assume that all of the kids her age are struggling in one way or another with, like, oh my god, like, self-confidence and all of
Yeah.
this stuff, all of this,
Yeah.
especially body image and all the things that
Yeah.
are going through social media nowadays. I think if there's anything that kids that can latch onto and try to emulate nowadays, it's like CrossFit athletes. And maybe I'm
Yeah.
biased, but you look at the teens that are,
No, it's
the
100%.
yeah, the teens or the young athletes that are, dedicating themselves to something, a sport or multiple sports or just exercise in general, all the positive things that are coming from that, rather than,
Hmm.
I'm gonna emulate, this movie star, or I'm gonna emulate
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
this singer who, barely has everything together, but it looks
Right.
like they do through social media.
Right. No, it's so true. And, I have to say, like, it's interesting because my husband, he works a lot with them at home. He'll make little wads up and then they'll do them at home. And that's kind of been going on for the last couple of years or so, just kind of whenever we can. And we've really seen an evolution in their push-ups, in their burpees. And then now that Julia is doing, coming into the box, even more so, right, with the coaching that she gets there, finally, like, her push-ups are, she's really getting the right form, to them. Um, and then it's translating into her gym class, so that's really awesome. And she's taking more chances there. And because she's similar to me, I don't, she's very hesitant about team sports. She really prefers like individual pursuits like horseback riding and ice skating. So gym is intimidating for her, and gym class was intimidating for me. But suddenly now, I think because she's getting more used to moving her body and, like you said, gaining more confidence, she comes home and she tells me, oh, I did this in gym and I did that in gym. And it's just, it's, I mean, that's what you want, right? It's
Yeah, yeah,
what you're hoping for. So yeah, it's really nice.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we're just about out of time here, but I want to kind of wrap it up. Thank you, first of all, for sharing your story and kind of where you've come from. I feel like I can see a lot of our members sharing very similar stories as yours. Not necessarily having come from, big athletic backgrounds and everything, but just, our everyday moms and dads that need to keep moving to keep
Yeah.
their body healthy, and, and and like I said, be able to keep moving as those years tack on there. So maybe you could just kind of give us some of your final thoughts, and anything maybe that wanted to share with our viewers, or or maybe just something that you've seen with Strong Together that you feel that people don't necessarily know just by seeing us in social media, or
Mhm.
what have you.
I think something uh, that I really like about the box, and I'm trying to think like how I can phrase this, but I feel like when you walk through the door, right? I don't know. I feel like when you walk through the door, it's a place where it's a very open and accepting place. And I feel like all of us come through the door with different needs and wants, right? And that over time, I think that those needs and wants, that they grow and they change. But it becomes this place where, you know, it it feeds you physically, but I think it also, in a lot of ways, can feed you spiritually, whether that's the connection through community, the push that you give yourself. Um, sometimes you need sweat therapy, right? I feel like that is not something that I expected joining the box, but I feel like that is a huge part of what I get out of it, is as much as I put in there, that I get out. And I really feel like, no matter how big the space is, right, big or small, that there really is room for everyone to come in with all of their stuff, so to speak, right? And it's like a place where you can really, grow physically, but also heal, in a lot of ways that maybe you weren't necessarily expecting or realizing that you needed. But it just it means the world to me, and I absolutely love it. I get so much out of going in there every day. So.
Awesome. Yeah, it's well said. It's not.
I hope so, because I felt like that was really garbled.
No, it's okay.
But
Yeah,
it's truly from the heart how I feel.
yeah, there's a lot more than just the way your body changes, and it's hard to realize that at first, especially
Yeah.
people that come in so motivated. They're very, very motivated to lose weight or to get stronger, or whatever it is.
Hmm.
So their whole first 6 months or a year might be only focused on those measurables, those tangible items, and they quickly realize that when they stop working out, all of a sudden they're in a worse mood, or they're fighting with their spouse, or they're
Yeah.
whatever it is. All those things, I'm the same way. I feel so much better when I work out, and I try to work out before I go to do other things throughout the day if I'm going to work
Yeah.
or whatever it is. um, Definitely makes the rest of the day a lot easier, that's for sure. And like you were talking about before, it makes you more social. You're talking,
Yeah.
you're excited about the rest of the day. It's not like especially as we head into these winter months of dark cloudy skies and cold weather, it can really change your mood and your overall mindset, your health, your mental health, really.
Yeah.
um, well, awesome. Thank you so much. We are out of time, but I want to thank you again for sharing your story. And I think a lot of people can definitely benefit from hearing that. And just a reminder to our viewers out there that if you want to find a gym near you, strongtogetherfitness.com. And we have, I think there's 7 or so gyms now. There's 5 or so here in New Jersey, and then more around the country. And then make sure you like this YouTube page here, subscribe, and check us out on Instagram, Strong Together Official. And more videos will be coming your way soon. And yeah, hopefully some videos from the Interbox battle coming up in a month, our in-house
Fun.
competition. And we hope everybody has a great holiday next week. And if we don't see you before then we'll see you soon.